who are looking for research like PhD, or if you want to do publications. So this is very, very important. Even association rule also important, but when compared to Navi based classifier, so that advantages, I mean, what I'm trying to say, so that applications are little bit less. Anyhow, that we will discuss in detail. So it's not moving. Next slide, madam. Hello, madam.
It is all right from our side, sir. We have made you the presenter, so you should be able to.
The second slide, it's not moving.
Just sir, it is all right from our end. I don't know what is the issue, sir.
First slide, can you see, madam? I mean, just session 10 like that. So second slide, I'm not able to see.
Sir, I just try and present it again, sir.
One second, can you leave, madam? 1 second.
Some participant has said to remove the marker, sir. Only if you remove the marker, you can move like that. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll remove, madam. Yeah, maybe because of that. Because for us, this is first we are using actual Microsoft Teams.
Oh, okay, sir.
It's not moving, madam. Now I removed actually. Yeah, now I think. Now can you see, madam, second slide?
Presentation overview.
Yeah, fine, madam. Okay, thank you.
Yes,
After removing, okay, fine. So coming to today's presentation overview. So first we will see introduction of classification, and next we will see what are the basics of probability. I don't want to take much time on probability because it's a vast topic. Just I'll give brief definition, and directly we will move to the Navy Bayes classifier and Bayes theorem, because Bayes theorem is the main foundation for Navy Bayes classifier. So obviously we should know what is Bayes theorem and how to formulate Navy Bayes classifier. I will give derivation for Navy Bayes classifier. So in general, we know direct formula, but how we will get that Navy Bayes classifier for a given data set, that I will give derivation. And based on that, so once if we'll get Navy Bayes classifier mathematical formula, so based on that we will see the applications like how to classify the data based on the given data set, because we are talking about supervised learning. So we are talking about supervisor means obviously we need data set. So first problem we will see, if data set is given, how to classify for given instance, that means given testing data. And problem 2, how to go for text based classification. So we have a text and how to classify, and we will see some research problems or research directions. So what are the possibility to do something on this Navy based classifier on research. Even I will show my recently published paper on COVID-19 that is in Elsevier. Of course still other papers are under review. So that paper you can see some of the research problems, and that is useful for the youngsters. Youngsters means those who are looking for PhD or those who want to do any publication. It will helpful surely. And finally we'll see conclusion. So ultimately today's session, my goal is what is the Navy Bayes classifier and how to apply for given data set. I'm giving two examples. One is for general data set and one is for text based classification. Of course it is slightly related to NLP also, natural language processing, so that I'm not going to cover, but just by using Bayes classifier how to classify, that we will see. So this is the today's presentation overview. Coming to the introduction, so here I told introduction, just we will see what is classification and what are the types of classification techniques and what is supervisory classification, because we are talking about supervisory classification technique. So afternoon session we have association rule, which comes under unsupervised classification technique, that we will see in detail later. So classification means, so for example, if we take, we have a group of items, let us assume, so we have to assign some label to each item based on the some property or characteristic or based on the future. So for example, if we take a classroom, so we have to classify two types, one is boys, one is girls. So we have to make all group of people, one group of people, we have to make it as a boys label, and one group of people we have to make it as a label as girls. So that is the classification, that is called binary classification. So entire class we have to make two classes, one is for boys, one is for class. So that is the classification, is the categorizing a given set of data into classes. So we have a data that we have to make some labels. Class is nothing but output, so whatever it may be, name we can give. We can do this is for both structured data and unstructured data. So structured data means we studied in lower classes, so that is related to attributes is given, like a name, column names is given, and based on that how to make labels for output, that is called class. And unstructured data, that is related to emails or maybe images or video, etc. So images also we have applications while doing classification, so for that also we can apply classification techniques. So finally, classification is the process of assigning some classes or some labels or some names to the group of items. So it may be minimum two classes, obviously. So more than two, that is called multi-classification. That also possible. And this is applicable for both structured data. Structured data means we have a data which is classified as attributes, each row having some attributes. Let us assume name of the student and your roll number and grade, like that. That is the structured data. In SQL also we used to do structured data, attributes with data type, etc. Unstructured data means it is related to images and emails, etc. So for that also we can do classification, so that we will see later. And here we have two classification. Here we have still other binary classification, multi-class. Binary means either true or false. So for example, if we take, I have to take one disease, if we take medical application, let us assume COVID-19, I have to classify whether the person is infected with COVID-19 or not. So that is called binary, either true or false. And if we take email spam detection, so whenever I'm sending a mail to some friend, we have to classify whether the mail should be either spam or not a spam. So two classification, that is called binary classification. So in the entire session we are talking about binary classifications. Of course we can extend. So multi-class classification, here I'm giving, here you can see multi-classification. So face classification, that means face detection. When we go for face detection, for example, we have a class of 50 students. If you want to go for face detection, how many classes possible? 50 classes. Why? Because we have 50 students with 50 different names, let us assume. Obviously one student having labeled as one name, like one student is Ravi, one student is Ramu, one student is, let us assume, Lata, like this. So 50 students, 50 labels. At that time we can't say only two names. So in that case we have to go for multi-classification. So that is called face detection or face classification. Or plant species classification. If we take a plant, we have different kinds of plant. If we take one plant, let us assume eggs. Under eggs we have different categories also. So let us assume x1, x2, x3, like this. So that for that also we have to go under multi-class classification. Or character recognition. If we go for English character recognition, we have 26 characters. It may be any one of the character. So we can't say it's a binary, it's a multi-class classification. So like that we have different application. So based on the supervisor techniques or maybe Bayes classifier, so that we will see later. So far we don't know about Bayes and whatever it may be, just we know what is the definition of classification. Classification is the process of making group of items with some classes, and binary and multi-class classification, even we can extend also. Now here I'm giving classification problem. So let us assume we have a data set. So data set, let us assume here, so you can see here T1, I'm not using highlighter because it's not properly working. So we have a data set D, so T1, T2, T3 and Tm. So these are the records. So that means T1 is a first record, T2 is second record, like that we have M records, and each record having set of attributes. So for example, if we take first record, let us assume student data set, first record, first student having name, address, let us assume roll number, let us assume, and maybe native or maybe district or state, whatever it may be. And if we take second one, same will repeat for each attribute, I mean each record. So whenever if I take classification problem, so we have to assign finally grade for the student. So first student is having what are the attributes, name, let us assume. So USN, roll number, marks. Now based on this data or based on the marks, we have to make a class, either first class, second class, etc. So for that we have a class C equal to C1, C2, so on, Ck. So that means we have a data set D and we have a class capital C. Now what is the classification problem deals? We have to make a function from D to C. For each record in the data set D, or for each tuple in the data set D, we have to map to one class in the class labeled set, that is called C1, C2, Ck. We have to assign any one class, so we can't assign more than one class. For example, student percentage is 80%. I can't assign student both distinction as first class. We have to go for distinction only. So that means we have to assign only one class. At the same time, we have to assign one class exactly. We can't go for no class also. We have to make something, either first class or second class. So that's why fmap D to C, it is like one-to-one mapping. So each tuple having set of attributes and features that we already discussed. So T1 is a attribute, tuple. For that, features we have or attributes we have. So finally, classification problem is a function from D to C, where D is nothing but set of tuples, that means set of records, and each record is assigned to one class label that is available in the capital C. So I am assuming C1, C2, Ck. If binary classification means capital C having only C1, C2. If we go for multi classification, like here I did. So when you go for multi classification, we have more than two, maybe C1, C2, C3, C3, C4, etc. Depends on the application. So that is the classification problem. It's like a function mapping from data set to some class label. So for each tuple having some output or some class label we have to assign. Now coming to the applications of classification, where we have to apply classification and why we have to study classification, that is very important. So when you come to the first application, medical field. So when you go for medical field, so for example, we have, for example, I'm taking latest scenario that COVID-19, because the entire global or entire world is struggling with COVID-19 crisis. So if I take images, let us assume chest X-ray images or maybe CT images. So I want to classify the given image either COVID positive or COVID negative. So based on the classification technique, we have different classification techniques, that is another issue. But here by using classification, by taking input as chest X-ray image or CT image, so based on that we have to make a conclusion by using some algorithm, machine learning algorithm, that is supervised learning algorithm. We have to make a conclusion whether the person is infected with positive or negative of COVID-19. So that is one classification. So just we have to make classification. Or maybe if we take tumor cells, so we have tumor images also. So based on that also we can classify whether the person is infected with the tumor or not. If infected, what type of tumor? In that case, we have to go for multi-level classification, because we have different types of tumor cancers or tumor cells, let us assume. So T1, T2, T3, T4, we have to classify based on the images or based on the data set. That is. And diabetes classification, we have diabetes classification means we have data set available, open source data set. So like what is the BP level, what is the heartbeat, or what is the maybe other features like let us assume sugar, etc. levels. So based on that we can classify whether the person having diabetes or not. So we have a data set and one person coming and he is giving these features, and based on the previous data set we have to train, and finally we have to make a conclusion or we have to classify the person having diabetes or not. Like that we have so many applications in medical field. That's why nowadays, so there is a vast research in the medical field based on the machine learning or deep learning or artificial intelligence. Of course, these terms already you heard about in previous sessions, because this is almost 10th session. So previous 9th session, I think already heard about what is artificial intelligence, what is machine learning, what is deep learning, what is data science, how which is related, or how data science is correlated with artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. All this I think already completed in previous sessions. I don't want to waste my time to, session time to cover all this. So, but here medical field applications, we have so many applications. I'm taking latest one. I will show my paper also end of the session. So what that is published recently. And security applications. So whenever if I take credit card, whether this is authenticated or not, because if we take credit card, maybe we can make fake credit cards also. How to classify? So for that also we can go for classification. So classification means whether fake or authenticated, whether it is recognized by the government or not. Like that we have to go for security issue. Not only credit card, so many other things also we can do. I'm giving just one example. And spam classification. So I received a mail. So sometimes some mails will go to spam. How can I identify the mail belongs to spam? Or what is the criteria? For that we have to go for text classification, that we will see later. So for that also we have to go for classification techniques. Prediction or forecasting. So this is if we take latest scenario COVID-19, for example, up to today, let us assume from March to today in Karnataka or maybe Tamil Nadu, whatever it may be, or let us assume entire country. So these are the every day we have diseases, number of diseases or number of people infected with COVID. Let us assume last 10 days, if I take every day, what is the status of number of people infected with COVID-19? Now I want to predict tomorrow's situation. How many possibilities, how many people possible to get COVID-19 tomorrow, or maybe coming week, or maybe coming 10 days. So that means we have to predict. Now what is the use for that? If I predict possibilities for tomorrow, maybe rest of the 10 days, I can identify these many people possibility is there. Based on the previous history or previous data, we have to go for proper precautions, or we have to take care properly, or we have to give proper instruction to the people, so that we have to control the disease. So for that we have to go for prediction. Even weather forecasting also, if we go for weather forecasting, so obviously we used to get signals from weather department. So maybe if we, tomorrow possibility for getting rain or heavy rains, so how it possible? So based on the previous data, or maybe based on the images, that is called remote sensing images, we have to go for classification whether possibility for heavy rains or not, etc. So for that also we can go for classification, there we can use. And entertainment, so because nowadays after watching movie, immediately before going to movie, I mean suppose today movie is released, so tomorrow if I want to go to movie, first what we are doing, we are watching the reviews. If review is good, we are going immediately. If review is not good, we are not going. How it possible? How can I say the rating? So based on the reviews we will get rating. So that is also one kind of text classification along with NLP, natural language processing. And based on the final rating, we are deciding whether we have to go to that movie or not. If rating is very good, we can watch. Otherwise, we will leave. Like that, based on the entertainment also, we can go for classification. And social media. So we can identify the current trend and future growth, etc. So the so many applications we have, so or we can say examples of classification. So that's why nowadays if you take machine learning research, everyone focusing on these applications only. Of course already available some methods we can update, or we can modify, or we can tune that method in such a way that which will perform better than previous method, so that we can find good publication in the good journals also. So these are the applications. So today I will give two applications, how to classify based on the given data set, and how to go for text classification. And based on the same concept we can apply for others also. I think this is a clearly medical field, security application, spam classification, like email is spam or not, prediction or forecasting, COVID-19 prediction I can do based on classification, entertainment, movie ratings or social media, etc., Facebook, etc., we can use that one. Now coming to one more small topic, classification techniques. We are talking about classification. What is classification? What are the types of classification? Where we are applying classification? But what are the techniques available for classification of the given data? Because we have different types of data. It may be structured data like table data, or unstructured data like images or maybe mails, etc. For that, how to go for classification? Which technique is suitable, or what are the types classification techniques are available? So for that we will see, first one is supervised classification. So we are talking about supervised today's class, because Bayesian classifier comes under supervised, and association rule, that is afternoon session, that comes under unsupervised classification. And first we will see what is the difference of these two. So supervised, name itself indicates supervised. So we have a data, and for each label, sorry, for each record or for each tuple we have some class that is called output class, and that is available already. And if you want to go for classification of new data or new instance or new testing data, based on the previous data we have to train, and based on that we can predict the label for new instance or new data. So that is the supervised. Just we have to supervise the data already existing, and based on that we have to classify the present data. So that's why I told, if I go for diabetes data set, that is available in online also. So many attributes we have in diabetes data set, and if new person coming today for testing whether he is having diabetes or not, we have to take all the features, what is your BP level, what is the heartbeat, etc. So based on that we have to train the data with previous data by using some classification technique. Finally, we will get conclusion. So he is having sugar, I mean, he is having diabetes, or he is not having diabetes. Of course, we can classify degree of diabetes also, how much percentage is having that one. So that we have to go in-depth research, that is another issue. So like that we can classify in the supervisory classification. So that's why here, that's why supervisor means we are giving some supervision to the data, and based on that for given instance we are giving class. So here set of possible classes are known here. So classes means, so here if you take binary classification, yes or no. If you take multi classification, maybe more than 2 classes. Like that all the classes we know. When we come to the unsupervised classification, name itself indicates it's a reverse process. It's a complementary of supervisor. So that means unsupervised classification. So in this case, classes we don't know. So for example, let us assume we have group of animals. So group of animals, but I don't know what is the animal name. So that is the problem here. We have a cat, we have dog, or maybe we have horse, etc. We have group of animals, but I don't know class. So how can I classify? So here the unsupervised classification, what it will do, so it will take the features of each object and it will cluster. So let us assume all dogs belongs to one cluster, all horses belongs to one cluster, maybe all cats belongs to one cluster. So based on that, it will go for clustering. That's why this unsupervised is one type of unclustered, I mean clustered classification we can call it as. So that means it's based on the similarity or based on the features of the object we have to classify. Here we are not doing any training. Whatever data available, we are not at all worried about previous data or past data. Just whatever data available, it may be images or maybe general raw data. So we have to make a groups or maybe clusters in such a way that each cluster having its own features. That's why we have to go for Euclidean distance, maybe other distance measures we have to use for going cluster. So maybe next session I think you are going to see k-means clustering. So that is one type of clustering that comes under unsupervised classification. So in k-means clustering we have to group based on the number of clusters. So k we have to give, if k equal to 2 we are going for 2 clusters, if k equal to 4 we are going for 4 clusters, and based on the some criteria we can go for Euclidean distance or maybe centroid. So that is so many things are there inside. We have algorithm for k-means also. Anyhow, next session you are going to listen that entire k-means clustering. So I'm not going to touch that one. So that is the unsupervised. So we don't have any labels, but we are going classification based on the future. That's why we can call it as a clustering classification also. And coming to last one, so reinforcement classification or reinforcement learning, we can call it as supervisor learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning or classification. It's like a semi-supervised classification. So especially when you come to the RL, that means reinforcement learning, it's a semi-supervisor. Semi means something is supervised, something is not supervised. That means some data is labeled, some data is not labeled. This is a little bit complicated scenario. When you go for robotic applications, so we have to use this reinforced classification. So we have to give object to the robot, and based on the some training or maybe something not possible to give training, so based on that we have to detect object or not. So this is a little bit high application, like when you go for computer vision or robotic vision, we can go for this also. So these are the three things. So we are focusing on supervised classification. That is the more powerful. Of course, every classification having its own merits and drawbacks, pros and cons. So we are talking about supervised classification. That's why we are focusing on more on that. And unsupervised means there is no classes for the data. Reinforcement means it is a semi-supervised. It's a combination of labeled data and some data is not labeled. Especially when you go for robotic applications, we have to use this one. Now here, now we will come to the main concept, supervised classification. So that I already explained, we have collection of data or maybe collection of records, each record having attributes or features, and based on that we have to train the data, and whatever instance we are getting newly, that we can classify, that we have to give a label. So that's why I give already applications like medical applications, etc. Already available data, if new instance coming or new patient coming for testing of diabetes or not, we have to train the previous data, and based on that we have to go for final conclusion. Yeah, now we'll come to the actual point. Now we are talking about Bayesian classifier. For that we need little bit basics of probability. Of course we studied in lower classes, just we can recap and we'll go for directly Bayesian. I don't want to take more than one slide for this, just I will explain briefly, we'll go for this one. So far we covered what is classification, what are the types of classifications techniques, and what is supervised technique, and we saw the differences also. When you come to the basics of probability, so what we are talking about Bayesian learning, it's a supervised learning. It's purely depends on Bayes theorem. So if you want to go for Bayes theorem, we should know little bit probability concept and followed by conditional probability also. Without conditional probability also, we can't do Bayes theorem. So probability is nothing but, so we know what is the probability. Probability is nothing but chance or maybe possibility. We can say possibility. So what is the probability of getting rain tomorrow? If someone will say 0.7, that means 70% possibility for getting rain tomorrow. Or what is the probability of getting rain today? If you will say 0, that is 0%, that means not possible. That is the chance or probability. Probability we have to see what is the possibility of getting rain tomorrow or not. So what is the formula here? A is an event. So event means what we are looking, that is the meaning. P of A equal to probability of an event A. That means probability of tomorrow getting rain. So for that, what is the formula? Favorable number of cases divided by total number of cases. We are looking for favorable number of cases. That means what are the favorable number of cases for A, and total number of cases we are looking. We have 100 students. Out of 100 students, 20 students got distinction. I want to find probability of distinction. So probability of distinction equal to 20 by 100. So that means 0.2 is the probability of distinction for a given class. So always we are looking for favorable cases. How many number of cases, or maybe values which is favor to given event capital A. Event means always it is a subset of a sample space. Again, we have to go in depth, means it will take more time. So just we can say notation M by N. M means favorable number of cases, N means exhaustive number of cases. Now coming to here, one more important thing is conditional probability. When you go for Bayes theorem, without conditional probability, we can't take Bayes theorem. If we don't know Bayes theorem, we can't go for Bayes classifier. If we don't know Bayes classifier, we can't go for classification. So that means we should know foundation, probability, followed by conditional probability, followed by Bayes theorem, followed by Bayes in classifier, followed by classification. So this is the chain. Based on that only you can understand. Directly I can go for Bayes classifier, I can say this is the formula and I can give example, but that we can find. If you know how we got that classifier and what is the concept inside, so that we can understand clearly. So based on that we can identify the classification. So conditional probability in name itself indicates. So we have to find the probability based on the condition. So for example, so I have to find what is the probability of getting rain tomorrow, given that yesterday there was no rain. Try to understand. Whenever if I go for conditional probability, we have a keyword that is called given that. Given that means that is the indicates the condition. Here you can see the conditional probability of an event capital A. Given that indicates condition. So B is a condition, and based on that condition, we are looking for required probability. So here, so B is a condition. Based on that, we are looking for required probability. So that notation is P of A given B. So B is already we know, and based on that, we are looking for required probability, that is A. So what is the formula? P of A intersection by P of B. So here meaning is, whenever if I go for P of A intersection B, P of B means, so we are looking for intersection value, the common value between A and B, divided by all the possible values of B. Why we have to look for all the possible values of B? So that is the given condition. So from that condition only we are looking for required probability. Yeah. Now here number of, here I will give Venn diagram, you can see here. So here this is one set A, this is one set B. I think can you see here, this color is I'm not able to. So A, B, we have two sets here. Can you see this Venn diagram, madam? Yeah. So here we have two sets, capital A, capital B, or let us assume events. Now conditional probability means based on the condition. That means, so we are taking condition is B. That means entire Venn diagram B we have to consider. So you can take, you can see I'm highlighting entire B. After that, we are looking for probability for A. That's why we have to take intersection. You can see here this intersection. That means probability of A intersection B divided by P of B. That's why we can write it as conditional probability P of A given B equal to P of A intersection by P of B. So that is the actual technical reason. So why means, so we have, let us assume, I'll tell you, we have two Venn diagram. So here we have to take condition B. We are looking for B, that is the given condition. Out of that, we are looking for intersection because we are looking for A also. This intersection we have to take, that means P of A intersection by P of B. That means here exhaustive number of cases is nothing but entire B. We can't take it as A union B. We have to take entire B, that is the condition. Out of that, we are looking for favorable cases for A. That means intersection value. That's why we can write it as P of A intersection B equal to P of A given B equal to P of A intersection by P of B. So that is the actual technical reason why we have to take intersection value numerator, why we have to take denominator value as B instead of N. We are not taking N means A in and B. Why we are not taking A in and B? We are looking for B, that is the condition. Out of that condition, we are looking for A value. That means, for example, we have a student, 100 students. You can understand this example. Out of 100 students, 70 students passed in the exam, 30 students failed. Now I am looking for only distinction students. Now I am looking for distinction students. That is a condition. What is the probability of getting distinction student given that student passed? So that means when I'm looking for distinction students, I have to consider only passed student. That means 70 only. Out of 70, we are looking for distinction students. So that means let us assume 30. So 30 by 70 is the conditional probability. So that means we are not considering rest of the 30. Why? They already failed. I'm looking for distinction only from passed student. So that's why this A rest of the values no need to consider. I'm taking only intersection, that is called distinction and passed, and divided by all the student passed. That's why we are getting, so how many students got distinction in the class. So that is the actual reason we are taking numerator is intersection, denominator is only probability of B instead of taking N value. Now we will see one example. One second, I'm erasing. Yeah. So when I'm using highlighter, it's not moving properly. Yeah, fine. Yeah. Now I'm giving a simple example. This everyone knows. Just after that, we'll move to the Bayes theorem. Now here we have tossing of two coins experiment. First A, exactly two heads. B, at least one head. C, exactly one head. So sample space we know tossing of two coins means, so TT, HT, TH, HH. If we toss two coins simultaneously, we have 4 exhaustive number of cases. That means 4 sample points. So TT, HT, TH, HH. Now probability of A. So that means exactly two heads. Total number of events, I mean elements in the sample space is 4. That is exact number of cases, denominator. And favorable number of cases means how many events which are favored to getting exactly two heads. Only one event, that is called double H. So that's why required probability is 1 by 4. That means 0.25. Out of 4, only one favorable cases of getting two heads. That's why we have to go for 0.5. 0.25 is the answer. That's why 1 by 4. Now second, probability of B, at least one head. At least means minimum one head. Out of 4 sample points, minimum one head means here we can see, so second, third, fourth. So that means 3 sample points, minimum one head. More than one head also no issue. So 3 by 4, total cases 4. P of C, exactly one head, only 2 sample points we have. So that's why 2 by 4. So this is the general probability. Now when you come to the conditional probability, P of A given B, what is A here? Exactly two heads. What is B? At least one head. The problem is like this: find the probability that given that at least one head, what is the probability of getting exactly two heads? That means the condition is at least one head should be there. Out of that, we are looking for exactly two heads. So directly, what is the meaning? Denominator is B value. What is B value? At least one head. At least one head means how many sample points? 3 sample points. So second sample, third sample, and fourth sample. So that's why denominator is B. Out of 3, we are looking for exactly two heads. How many possibilities are there? Only double H. 1 by 3 is the required probability. So no need to go for formula P of A intersection by P of B, all those things. So blind indication, denominator value is number of elements in B. How many elements in B? At least one head means 3 elements, HT, TH, double H. Out of 3 elements, how many possibilities of getting exactly two heads? Numerator value only one, double H. So 1 by 3 is the required probability. Just within seconds we can find. No need to go for conditional probability formula and doing step by step. So in competitive exams, we can apply directly like this. Now exactly one head. So the C value. Now here last one, P of C given B. Condition is B. What is the condition B? At least one head. At least one head means how many events we are getting, how many possibilities, sample points, 3. HT, TH, HS. What is numerator C? Exactly one head. Out of 3, we are looking for exactly one head. That means HT, TH. So 2 by 3 is the answer. So denominator value is nothing but number of elements in B. Numerator value is nothing but number of elements in B which are favored to the numerator value. So B value is here nothing but At least one head means HT, TH, double H. Out of 3, we are looking for C. What is C? Exactly one head. Exactly one head means how many cases? HT, TH, 2. So 2 by 3 is the answer. So here I give simple example for general probability and conditional probability. In conditional probability, condition plays a vital role. That's why I'm giving that example. So condition we have to consider, in which we have to look for numerator value. That means what probability we are looking. That's why I gave this example for general probability followed by conditional probability. So directly we can write, no need to go for intersection, all those things. I think this is clear. So numerator value should be always intersection of denominator B, and B is nothing but number of elements in B based on the given condition. Yeah. Now we'll come to the main thing. Now so far we discussed what is classification, what are the types of classification, and what is supervisory classification and classification problem, and we discussed probability. So general probability, conditional probability. Probability means directly we can go for favorable cases by exhaustive number of cases. Conditional probability means we have to look for condition, and based on that condition we have to find the required probability. So that I gave example. Denominator plays a vital role. P of A given B, that means it's not denominator, given that. So denominator plays a vital role in the conditional probability. Now we'll come to the main concept, Naive Bayes classifier. So whatever we covered so far, everything will help to make or derive Naive Bayes classification. If you don't know probability, conditional probability, if you don't know what is supervised, it is difficult to understand. Of course, as a faculties, we know already some basics. Maybe for beginners, little bit difficult to understand. That's why I covered basics or foundation. Now, when we come to the Naive Bayes classifier, it's purely supervisory classification technique. That means we have a data, posted data, and we have to train that data, or we have to make a model, and based on that we can identify or we can classify the new instance. Whatever new instance I'm giving or new data value I'm giving, based on that we can classify directly. So that's why which is a supervisory classification technique. It is purely depends on probability. That's why we can call it as it's a statistical classifier. So it's purely depends on statistical probability statistics concept. So here this Naive Bayes classifier, in name itself indicates Bayes. So that means it is depends on the Bayes theorem. So if you don't know Bayes theorem, difficult to go for Bayes classifier. That's why we should know Bayes theorem, and based on that we can go for Naive Bayes classifier. Again, one more thing, why we can call it as Naive. So Naive means in general, whatever features we are sending to the classifier, it will go independently. All features are independent. One feature does not depend on other feature. That means there is no correlation. So one feature value does not affect on other feature value. That is the main condition here. When you come to the Naive Bayes classifier, that is the main assumption. All features are independent. One feature does not depend on other feature. We have to send features one by one in a row. That's why we can call it as Naive. That is the general meaning. It's like attention. And one feature does not depend on other feature. So that means, so Naive means the features are independent. Bayes means it's based on Bayes theorem. That's why we can call it as Naive Bayes classifier, or we can call it as Bayesian classifier also. That's the here we can see the assumptions. The attributes are independent. So whatever attributes, that means values of the tuples, that means each record are independent. That means there is no correlation. And the classes are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. What is the meaning? Exclusive means each class we have to assign. For each record we have to assign only one class. That is the mutual. What is exhaustive? So we can't make it as a null. So whatever tuple if you take, whatever record if you take in the data set, we have to assign some class, whatever it may be class. So that is the main thing. Two conditions we have. So each tuple having exactly one class at the same time. So we can't leave any tuple or record without class. So that's why these are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. So finally, Naive Bayes classifier is a statistical classifier which is purely depends on Bayes theorem, and Naive means all the features are independent. Make sure that every tuple or every record having exactly one class. So that means one label. That means one name we have to give. Output. That is the output actually. So final class is nothing but output. Yeah. Now come to the formulation of Bayes classifier. So here I want to derive Bayesian classifier. So because we know already conditional probability basics, because in general conditional probability I used to take 2 hours for GATE students. Here we can't take that much time. Just I gave overview. For students means difficult to understand. We are faculty, we can understand. So conditional probability, we know that is the definition first given. Conditional probability of A given B. So P of A given B equal to P of A intersection by P of B. I'm not using highlighter because it's talking not able to move the next slide. Just you can see. So P of A given B. B is the condition, A is the given event. So P of A intersection by P of B. I told what is the reason intersection we have to include in the numerator. So because based on the Venn diagram of AB, B plays a vital role. That's why denominator is B. Out of B and A, intersection is nothing but numerator. Always we are looking for condition. That's why we have to go for A intersection by P of B. When you come to the next line, conditional probability of B given that A. So just replace AB values by BA. So B given A means numerator is P of B intersection A by P of A. So I am giving two conditional probabilities. One is for P of A given B, one is for P of B given A. And we know, we studied in set theory, whenever if I take A union B is same as B union A. There is no difference. If you take A union B, union of two sets, A union B is same as union of B and A. That means B union A. In similar way, intersection also same. If you take A intersection B or B intersection A, that means the common elements in the two events we are talking about probability, or the common elements in the two sets AB is same as the common elements in the two sets BA. That's why P of A intersection B equal to P of B intersection A. You can see one by one. So first two lines are conditional probability for A given B, B given A. When you come to the next one, conditional probability intersection values are always equal. It may be A intersection B or B intersection A, the values are same. So that's why left side I replace P of A intersection B. So from first equation, what is P of A intersection B? Just cross multiply P of A given B into P of B. So that we have to write left side. And right side from second equation, P of B intersection A equal to, you can see P of B given A into P of A. So from first equation, just cross multiply so that we'll get P of A intersection B. From second equation, cross multiply so that we'll get P of B intersection A. Now from this, so we can write P of A given B equal to P of A into P of B given A by P of B. Just we have to shift P of B to right side denominator so that we'll get P of A given B. So this is the Bayes theorem or Bayes formula. So once again, we know conditional probabilities and intersection values are same. That's why from left side replace from first conditional probability, right side replace from second conditional probability, just cross multiply second probability so that we get P of B intersection A. From this you can write P of A given B. You can write P of A given B or you can write P of B given A. I am taking P of A given B, shift P of B denominator. So which is the condition, which is called Bayes theorem. So actually what is the meaning? What it indicates actually? That's the main question. So finally we know, I'm telling this is Bayes theorem. Then what is the meaning? How it is applicable? How can I apply for classification technique? So what is exactly meaning? So I will give a simple example. You can understand what is a Bayes formula. Suppose we have two classes. Let us assume class CSE. Let us assume class ECE. So I want to pick one student randomly from one of the class. I don't know which class. So we have two classes. One is CSE, one is ECE. I have to take one student randomly from one class. So what is the probability that the selected student from CSE? So that means we have to find whatever student I selected, what is the possibility or what is the probability that that student belongs to CSE. So that is the total probability. We have two classes. We have to find probability for each class and make sum so that we'll get required probability that the selected student is CSE. So that is total probability. Anyhow, we are not going to explain about in detail. So that is the total probability concept, because we are taking two classes and we have to find probability of each class. Finally, we have to make sum so that we are finding required probability that the given student is a CSE. When you come to the conditional probability, sorry, Bayes theorem, try to understand, we have slight difference between conditional probability and Bayes theorem. In total probability. In total probability, we have two classrooms. We have to take one student randomly. What is the probability that the selected student from CSE? That is the total probability. We have to make sum of two probabilities will get. When you come to the Bayes theorem, we have two classrooms. We have to select one student randomly. Given that the selected student from CSE, the selected one student selected, so one student is selected randomly from one of the class. We don't know which class. So let us assume that student is, let us assume some name. So given that that student name is some X or Y, whatever it may be, what is the probability that he was from CSE class? So already I selected one student, that student having some name, let us assume. What is the probability that he was from CSE class? So that means we have to identify whatever student I selected, he was from CSE possibility, we have to identify. So that means we have to, based on the condition, we have to identify. That is main important. So when you come to the total probability, we don't have any condition, just we have to find the probability of two classes. Based on that we can find required probability. When you come to the Bayes theorem, based on the condition we have to find required probability. Whatever student I selected some name label, what is the probability that he was from CSC or maybe he was from ECE? So based on the condition we have to identify required probability. Here you can see here when you come to next one. So that means here how it is related to classification. Based on the given features of the data instance, we have to classify, we have to make a label whether the student belongs to CSC or ECA. So what is the condition? The condition is nothing but features of the data, whatever it may be features, and based on that features we have to make a label that student is CSC or ECA. That is the Bayes theorem that is little bit applicable to classifier. In detail we will see now how to derive. So here finally we got Bayes theorem. So based on P of A given B equal to P of A into P of B given A divided by P of B. So this is based, previously I gave derivation also based on the conditional probabilities. So we have to derive Bayes theorem. Actually what it tells, based on the given condition denominator, we have to find the required probability of numerator. So that is given by P of A into P of B given A into P of B. Now, how to apply for classification problem? That is the main question. We are focusing on classification, supervised classification, how it is applicable. So here in a supervised classification, we have future vector. That means future of each tuple or each record. Let us assume x equal to x1, x2, xn. I am assuming. And class is y. Let us assume capital Y. So that means each tuple or each record having one class. So whatever it may be class, it may be yes or no. Let us assume we are talking about binary. Let us assume yes or no. So we have a future vector and we have a class that is called output, that is called y. Now we have to change the Bayes theorem based on the data set. So I am assuming data set which future says x1, x2, so on, xn, and output class is y. Now we are looking for output class based on the given futures. That's why Bayes theorem indicates that we have set of futures, and based on set of futures, that is the given condition, and based on that we are looking for required probability. That means futures are nothing but condition, that is denominator. Denominator is always condition. In our case, capital X is a denominator, that is the condition. So I am giving set of features to you. Based on that we have to classify the given student is a distinction, first class, etc. Now we can write Bayes theorem as it is. So P of A, instead of A, make it as Y. What is Y? That is the output. A is nothing but required probability what we are looking. Here Y is nothing but label what we are looking. That is class. P of Y given X. So what is X value? X1, X2, so on, Xn. Here I can see P of Y given X. So here you can see P of Y given X. Y indicates, so label or class what we are looking. X indicates futures. So based on this condition, we are looking for required probability. What is X here? X1, X2, so on, Xn. These are the futures, set of futures. X1, X2, Xn. So that means denominator can be replaced by X1, X2, so on, Xn, because that are the futures. Based on that futures, we have to make label for the given data set. I mean, the given tuple. Now that right side value can be written as, now we have to go to Bayes theorem here. So P of A given B means P of A into P of B given A, that we know how to derive, divided by P of B. In place of P of A, what is value? Y. So P of Y. So that we can write. And in place of P of B given A, so B is nothing but denominator. Here denominator, what are the values? X1, X2, Xn. So that's why P of X1 given Y. A value is nothing but Y here. X1 given Y, X2 given Y, similarly Xn given Y. So that means P of A means P of Y. In place of A we have Y. That is what we are looking, label or class for the given data. And what are the features? We have X1, X2, so on, Xn. So features are attributes, and for this we have to write it as X1 given Y, X2 given Y, because in previous Bayes theorem we have only one event in the denominator, but here denominator we have so many features that like B1, B2, Bn, like that. So that's why P of X1 given Y, P of X2 given Y, like this. And denominator is P of B. So P of B is nothing but X1, X2, so on, Xn. Anyhow, these are independent nature. That's why we can write P of X1 into P of X2 into P of Xn. So that's why denominator we can write it as P of A into P of B into P of C, like that. Independent means we know P of X1 into X2 is nothing but P of X1 into P of X2. Then we can call it as independent events. That is a probability concept. So that's why denominator we can multiply each probability. That's why we can call it as independent futures. That is the assumption here. Now numerator can be written as P of Y into, we know when you have multiplication we used to use this pi symbol. Whenever if we have some summation, that means sum, we use summation as sigma symbol. So that's why this can be written in simplified version this symbol, so multiplication symbol into, that means pi into p of xi given y. I values varies from 1 to n. So because I am taking 1 to n, because we have n futures, so that's by 1 to n divided by p of x1, x2, so on, xn. So finally, this is the base formula for a given data set with futures x1, x2, so on, xn. But here I'm giving one more new easy formula, because we can observe that the denominator is common for all the tuples. If you take any record, denominator is common, because we are taking all the futures. You can see p of x1, p of x2, p of xn. So numerator may be changed, label may be changed, it may be yes or no, but denominator is common, because we are considering based on the future set, that is x, x1, x2, so on, xn. So that means if denominator is common for all the probability, we can neglect. That's why p of y given x is proportional to p of y into numerator value. Just we can write numerator. Denominator we can ignore. What is the reason is, which is a constant and which is common for all the tuples. So that's why we can neglect. If we keep also, no issue, you will get same answer. Final classification label will never change if we keep denominator as it is, or if we remove. Just for simple classification or simple manipulation or calculation, we have to remove denominator. While writing program, it will take more time complexity if we include denominator. Maybe that is also one reason. We have to minimize always time, or we have to minimize the calculations. That's why we have to remove denominator. So because it won't make much vital role, because that is common denominator for all the tuples. That's why we have to remove. So finally, p of y given x equal proportional to p of y into, so pi I y equal to 1 to n, it varies from 1 to n, p of xi given y. So this is the Bayesian classifier for a given data set. This is the, that's why we should know conditional probability. Based on that, we derived Bayes theorem. Based on Bayes theorem, we derived classifier finally. So final classifier is p of y given x equal to p of y into pi p of xi given y. So p of, this is the classifier. Now again doubt. So we are calculating different probabilities. How can I decide which class? That is the question here. So far around 95% completed. Still we don't know exact class. We know what is the probability. Y means maybe yes or no. We don't know still what is the label. But in what basis? Because we are talking about probability. So based on the probability, how can I decide exactly this label belongs to this class? I mean, this class belongs to this data. So for that, we'll go for final step, that we will see what is the classifier. So I think this derivation you understood. So we know what is the conditional probability, and p of A intersection B equal to p of B intersection A, and after derivation we'll get Bayes theorem, and Bayes theorem we have to apply for future vector. Denominator we have to change, numerator value we have to change to class, that is y, and just we have to apply Bayes formula for entire future vector, so that we'll get numerator like this. In place of B we have x1, x2, xn, and denominator we have to neglect, because which is constant and which is common for all the records. That's why we have to neglect. That's why p of y given x is proportional to p of y into product of these values, and this is finally p of y given x. Now we will see how to make final conclusion. That's the main thing. So when you go for Bayes classifier, now based on the classification we know, one second, yeah, this is completed. Yeah, now we'll come to the final classifier. So already we derived what is p of y given a in the previous slide. So p of y into product of p of xi given y. Now we have to see final Bayes classifier. So finally I want one label, that is y. So y equal to argmax into whatever we derived in the previous slide, p of y into product of p of xi given y. So this value we already calculated, p of y into product of p of xi given y. You can include denominator, or you can neglect also, no issue. So I neglected denominator to minimize the time. Now what is argmax? So here we have to find all the probabilities for each class. For each class we have to find the probability. That is the meaning here. So within this flower bracket, meaning is for each class. Let us assume if we have two classes, for each class we have to find the probability. That values we have to put here. Suppose for class S probability is 0.5, for class Y probability is 0.4, let us assume. So that values we have to put here, and after that we have to identify which is the maximum value. After identifying maximum value, that maximum value corresponding to which class, that is called arg. Max means, we know in general in mathematics what we studied in calculus, maximum of a function means, let us assume 10. So argmax means, what is the meaning? At which point we got maximum value? Let us assume at x equal to 2, maximum value is 10. So that means maximum value means 10. If someone will ask what is the argmax, means 2 is the answer. At which point we got maximum value is nothing but argmax. That means at which value, at which class we got maximum value is nothing but argmax. So that class is nothing but output. Suppose class is deceased. So for the deceased, we are getting maximum value. So that means argmax is nothing but deceased, because our class is deceased. So that's why we have to go for y value is deceased. Or maybe our class is diabetes. I'm getting maximum value for diabetes, so that means the class is diabetes. Or I'm getting maximum value for non-diabetes, that means class is non-diabetes. That is the meaning. So we have to identify the maximum value, and that maximum value we got based on the which class. That is the output of the final Bayesian classifier. So that is the meaning of this Bayesian classifier. So final conclusion: class equal to, class means y, that means output equal to argmax. That is the base formula, BP of y into product of future vectors given y. So we have to find the maximum of probabilities, and corresponding class is nothing but final classification of a given data set. So this is the derivation. So that means we should know probability extended for conditional probability, extended for Bayes theorem, extended for Bayes classifier. Finally we'll get y value output. I think this is understood clearly. So I started little bit basics. Based on that I derived Bayes theorem, and from Bayes theorem I derived final classifier, that is called Bayes classifier. So this is the final formula for Bayes classifier, and how we got also we derived, and what is the meaning of max, what is the difference between argmax and max. Max means maximum value, argmax means at which point we got maximum value, that is called argmax. We are looking for at which class we are getting maximum probability, that's why we are using argmax. So that is the final classification for a given data. It may be yes or no, whatever it may be. Now we will see some examples. So here advantages. So most of the applications we are using Bayesian classifier, which is based on the probability. Probability is a more powerful technique. So based on that we are getting more accurate result. That's why. So which is a training also very fast. Probabilities we can do fastly, and we neglected denominator also. So because of that reason, we can include denominator, it won't make any difference, but unnecessarily you will extend more number of calculations. Why unnecessarily? If you write program, denominator also will take more calculation, you know. When you go for division, it will take more time complexity when you go for multiplication. So because of that reason, you can remove denominator. If you keep also, no issue, you will get final classification label is same only. So this is little bit fast, and for both training as well as testing phase, because when you go for supervisor we have two phases. One is training phase. After training we have to test the data. That's why in both cases this is fast, and also which will give straightforward prediction. Why means finally based on the probability, when whichever maximum probability, based on that we can go for class. So class means output, and also easy to interpret because of probability concepts. And whenever data is huge data, this will work very nicely. If the data is very small data set, then it is not that much accurate, but if the data is huge data, it will work very nicely. And if you want to do any research, we can do any, you can go for any parameters also. That's why. So we can tune any parameters. If you want to do some parameters, maybe pre-processing or maybe Bayesian classifier, maybe by adding, subtracting something, if you want to do, we can do that parameters tuning also, so that we can get more accurate result. So that's why when you go for research, instead of applying as it is Bayesian classifier, we can go for updated or modified Bayesian classifier, so that we'll get better result. If you are getting better result, then only it will consider. If you are not getting better than Bayesian, then only it is applicable. If less means no need to consider. So that's why tuning parameters depends on the accuracy. If you are getting better accuracy, you can do some tuning. If you are not getting, leave it. We can't do like this for research purpose. So advantages are more when compared to other classification techniques. Even it's easy for us also, because we know probability concepts, all those things. So based on that we can do easily. I am giving one simple example. So based on that, I'm giving two examples. One is for if the data set is given, how to classify for a given instance. If the text is given, how to classify for a given instance. So I'm giving two examples. So these are the first one is general example. Anywhere if we see Bayesian classifier, this is a standard example. You can apply for anything. So we know finally, so far we discussed classification, types of classifiers, supervisory classifier, and what is probability, conditional probability with the difference, what is Bayes theorem, how to derive Bayes theorem, and from Bayes theorem how to derive Bayesian classifier, and what is the difference between max and argmax, and why we have to take argmax for finding final label or final output of a given classifier. Now we will see some example so that we can understand how to apply Bayesian classifier. So here we have 14 days, day 1, day 2, you can see the table. So day 1 to day 14, and we have 4 attributes. So attributes are nothing but features. We can call it as a features. So outlook is one attribute, temperature, humidity, wind. So for each record, we have 4 attributes value. So outlook sunny, maybe temperature hot, humidity high, wind weak, like this. So for each attribute, we have one value or one feature. So based on that, we will see how to do classification. And finally, here we have one second. So finally, we have whether we have to play tennis, yes or no. So here you can see last column. So tennis play or yes or no based on the features of these 4 attributes. So now, if suppose someone wants to play tomorrow tennis or not. So because what is the tomorrow situation? We have to collect what is outlook, what is temperature, what is humidity, what is wind. Is it possible to play or not? So for that, we have to go for classification. So we have to go for binary classification. Is it possible or not? Yes means possible to play tennis, no means not possible. Just we have to go for 2 classes. So based on the given instance, already data set we have past data, and based on this data set, we have to go for classification of the given instance or given sample data or testing data. So you can see so many, each feature having so many values. So outlook attribute having so many values, temperature, but we have to see different values. So if we take outlook, we have sunny, overcast, rain, like this. Same thing repeated that we can see here. Now how to apply Bayesian classifier for given instant? Now what is the given instant? We will see. Yeah. Now here given instance. So here I think you can see bottom. I think 1 second. So given instance is like this. So sunny, cool, high, strong. This is the given instance or given testing. So what is the conclusion? What is the classification? Is it possible to classify the given data? Is it possible to classify whether play tennis or not? So that we are going to do conclusion. Now when you come to the, we have 2 phases. One is learning phase. We have to learn the given data. After that, we have to go for testing phase so that we can go for conclusion. Now we have to take 4 variables because we have 4 variables in the given table, or we can call it as 4 attributes: outlook, temperature, humidity, wind. So for each attribute or for each feature, we have to make a table. So when you come to the first one, outlook. So outlook, again 2 possibilities: play yes, tennis, play no. And outlook, we have again 3 values: sunny, overcast, rain. So you can analyze clearly after maybe presentation. You can see this PPTs, you can understand clearly. So here we have outlook. Outlook is the attribute, and we have to play yes or no. And we have 3 values under outlook: sunny, overcast, rain. And whenever if I take here play yes, if you take here total out of, see here, whenever if I take here 14 days, out of 14 days, we have 9 days result is play tennis, and rest of the days result is not play tennis. That's why, so 9 days we have to play tennis, that is the conclusion, and 5 days not possible to play tennis, like this. Now whenever outlook value is sunny, play tennis is 2 by 9. So out of 9 days play tennis, so 2 times sunny is there, that means value is available. You can see here for sunny, wherever outlook sunny, corresponding to the yes is available only 2 times, so that's why 2 by 9 here. Similarly, play tennis no, 3 by 5. So here wherever no, here out of sunny 5 times is available no, so that's why we can go for 3 by 5. And overcast 4 by 9, out of 9 times play tennis, 4 times overcast is available. So like this, here overcast, play tennis, so here overcast, play tennis, so overcast, play tennis available. So that's why that is 4 by 9. And play tennis no, whenever overcast, that is 0 by 5. So whenever overcast is there, play tennis no is not at all available. If you see the data set, that's why 0 by 5. Out of 5 no's, so only 0, that means not at all exist. And rain 3 by 9, 2 by 5. So out of play yes, so 3 times repeated rain situation also, and 2 times not possible to play 2 by 5. And same thing we have to repeat for so other attributes also, that means temperature, wind, and humidity. So this you can understand clearly. So denominator is nothing but play yes, and denominator is nothing but play no, that is 5. And numerator is nothing but so favorable cases of sunny yes and favorable cases of overcast, like this we have to find the each probability. And this is applicable for all the 4 attributes. So outlook, temperature, wind, humidity. So that you can find easily. Now we will see, and here you can see top probability of play yes. So out of 14 days, we have total 14 days D1 to D14. Out of 14 days, 9 times we have classes 9. I mean classes playing tennis. That's why 9 by 14 here. So and out of 14 times, 5 times playing tennis is no. That's why 5 by 14. So finally we have one class label probability play tennis S is 9 by 14, out of 14 times 9 times class is 9, and out of 14 5 times class is no, and based on that we have to write other probability values also, that means variables outlook temperature wind, that we can understand by looking this. Now coming to the testing phase, we know just we have training phase, just we are writing all the probabilities based on the given table. Now we will see testing phase. So testing phase means we have some instance and we have to go for classification, is it possible or not, by using Bayesian classifier. Our aim is to classify the given data based on the Bayesian classifier. Now we have what is the instance sunny for first attribute value, what is first attribute value, outlook. So next temperature, so out first sunny, that is the temperature is cool, like that, high, strong. So rest of the values, so first future value sunny, second future value cool, high, strong. What is the result? That means what is the conclusion, whether we have to play tennis or not. Now coming to the Bayesian classifier, now we have to apply classifier. What is the numerator value? Numerator value is always class. We have two classes, yes or no. So probability of yes. Denominator value is always what we can call it as a features. What are the features here? Sunny, cool, high, strong. You can see the previous slide when I applied Bayesian classifier here. You can see here. So numerator value is always, so P of Y. So P of Y means class into product of features divided by class. So that means we have to take all the features. So what are the features given here? Sunny, cool, high, strong. That's why numerator is P of S, given 4 features we have to consider. And what is the probability value according to Bayesian classifier? Just multiply each feature value into probability of class, probability of yes. So probability of sunny given yes, this is the formula given in the Bayesian classifier. Probability of sunny given yes, probability of cool given yes. So similarly we have to extend high, all the 4 features given yes. So because we are looking for probability for each feature, the class should be yes. That's why we calculated in the previous table all the values. Now P of sunny given yes, all these values are available here. If you take P of sunny given yes 2 by 9 and P of cool given yes, so here where is 3 by 9, all these values are available in the table. You can substitute here so that we'll get 0.0053. And similarly second class P of no given same features, so we have to apply same Bayesian classifier formula. So after substituting all these values from the previous table, here these 4 tables are available. From these 4 tables all these values are available, so that we'll get 0.026. Now we have to look for which is the highest probability. So when you come to the yes, no probability is highest, so that's why we have to go for the class is no. That means finally we have to classification for the given instance is no. So we have to find Bayesian classifier formula, numerator is class, denominator is the future sector or future vector, and same thing, class is no, denominator is future vector, and we have to apply that Bayesian formula what we discussed previous slide. And after multiplying all the probabilities that is available in the 4 tables, you will get required probabilities, and out of these 2 we are looking for maximum probability. That is the meaning. When you come to the Bayesian classifier, you can see here what is the meaning maximum. We are looking for maximum, and that maximum corresponding to which class, that is the final classification. So that's why we have to see the final maximum value, where we got final maximum value. So 0.0206, this is the maximum value. This maximum value for which class we got no, that's why conclusion is no. That's why argmax, maximum in which we are looking for arg means argument. So for which argument we got no, that's why the conclusion is no. That means the classification is no. For play tennis, no, not possible. That is the conclusion. So it's very simple. So even we used to take classes for students also. So same logic, but here my concept is how to apply the Bayes classifier formula what we derived. If you want to see clearly how we have to apply that Bayes classifier, here I given clearly. So just I made a note, I given clearly. We know Bayesian classifier. So y is nothing but output class. That means final class. Y equal to argmax. This is the Bayesian class Bayes formula. And for previous problem what we covered, argmax, what is the y value class, yes or no, and what are the probabilities we got, 0.0053. Here we got 2 probabilities that we have to write, and out of these 2 probabilities which is the highest probability, 0.02, and this highest probability corresponding to which class, no class. So that's why result is no. That means the finally the classification of the given instance is nothing but no. So this is actual meaning. So here I given directly probability is more, that's why we got no conclusion. But this is if you want to clearly see the argmax meaning, like this argmax y, what is the y class, yes or no, and out of these 2 values maximum value is this one, and which corresponding to no class, that's why final conclusion is no. So this is the final classification of a given instance based on the play tennis or not. So it's very simple. That's why it is more powerful and easy to understand also. But we should know basics of Bayes theorem followed by classifier. Now this is a given data set. For that, how to classify. Now we will see text classification. So text classification means when you go for doctor, so we have records, and based on that record, how to classify the given data. Or maybe I got a mail, I have to classify whether the mail is spam or not. So like that, we have text classification. Or maybe if I type something, for example, I think if anyone here any faculty completed PhD or pursuing PhD. So if you want to submit some paper to the Elsevier journal or Springer journal, what we have to do, we have to go for Elsevier website, and we used to search which journals are suitable to for our domain. In general, what we used to do, we have to copy paste our abstract. Whenever if you copy paste our abstract, immediately it will display all the journals which are related to our abstract. So that means text classification. So based on the given data, we have to classify which journals are related to our data. Of course, not 100% not exactly. Most of the time we'll get suitable journals based on the given abstract. So in that case, we have to go for text classification. So what we given so far completed, that is the data set, like medical applications or maybe this type of play tennis, yes or no applications we can apply. If we go for text classification like mail or maybe checking a suitable journal or suitable website for the given data, etc. So we have to go for text classification. I am taking one simple my example. So let us assume now we are struggling with COVID-19. So I'm taking one synthetic data set. So whenever if we go for doctor, so each patient having some record that is called personal health record. So in that personal health record, we can find all the features like what is the cough, or what is the value for cough, maybe what is the blood level, blood sugar level, or maybe let us assume other features. All the features they used to write in that record. So that is called personal health record. So that is, we can call it as a PHR, and that is already available in the database or data set. And final conclusion also, based on these features, this person having fever or malaria fever or dengue fever or maybe cancer or maybe BP or maybe heartbeat, heart stroke, etc. Already we have features of the each patient, and when new patient coming to the doctor, he will take the data from the new patient and he will train the model already available, and based on that he will make a conclusion immediately for the new patient. That means new instant, immediately he will say you have this disease or you don't have disease, like that we can do. So that means we have a text here. There is no exact data set, we have text. So each patient having some text, and based on the text we have to classify for the given instance. So that's why we can call it as text classification. I'm giving one medical application. So I'm taking synthetic data COVID-19. I'm assuming in my area of Whitefield, Bangalore. I'm taking, let us assume 10 records. So just I created, so for the sake of FDP. So we will see what is the data. And here I'm giving one patient coming, his ID is, let us assume BCD 10. So B means Bangalore, CD means COVID disease 10. So his ID I'm giving 10. He is having these following personal health record features: chest pain, dry cough, loss of speech, fever, shortness of breath. So these are the features for this patient, and based on that I have to classify whether the person having COVID-19 or not. So I have to make a conclusion whether the person having positive or negative of COVID. So based on the synthetic data, we can't claim this is a data available from the hospital, like that's why I specify synthetic data. Synthetic data means the data which is suitable to for the classifier I created. So of course, if you have available data in your area for COVID-19, you can collect that data, you can apply Bayes in classifier, even you can claim for publication also. So this is the data available in our area, like this. So classification of COVID-19. So from, let us assume Bangalore, or from Tamil, from Chennai, like that we can specify area, and based on that we can submit that paper. Nowadays easy to accept for COVID-19 papers, you will get immediate acceptance also. Nowadays we are getting even 1 or 2 days also from Elsevier journal acceptance for COVID-19, so you can try easily. So that's why I'm giving the synthetic data. If you are getting original data from any hospital, it's very good, and acceptance ratio is very nice. If you have original data, immediately they will accept. Sometimes within hours also they are accepting, based on the quality of the data followed by method also. Now here, this is the synthetic data I created. So we have 9 patients. I'm giving some ID 1, 2, 3 like this. So BCD, B means Bangalore, CD means COVID disease, 01 is some label I'm giving, and PHR, personal health record. So these are the first patient having, one second. So first patient having, so these are the features. Features means X1, X2, etc. So what are the features I'm taking? Rash on skin, leg pain, headache, hair fall, and what's the conclusion for that patient. This is already available, completed. Now negative. So second patient having this data, and what is the conclusion of this data according to the PHR, I mean according to his personal health record, is having positive COVID. What is the features he is having? Shortness of breath, chest pain, fever, dry cough. Because of these features, so finally doctor classified is having positive. Next, third feature, I mean third patient having vomiting, fever, stomach pain, he got negative COVID. So chest pain, fever, like this. So I am giving some features which are common for COVID, which are not common for COVID, just for synthetic data. That's why I created. And finally, we have conclusions like this. Now, based on this data set, what I have to do is, now we will see, I have instance here. Now, one new patient came to the doctor for testing whether he is having positive or negative. His features are like this. He is having chest pain, he is having dry cough, he is having loss of speech. Maybe loss of speech means partially, let us assume. Fever, he is having shortness of breath. So that means these are the features he is having. So now based on that, I want to make conclusion. So just within seconds, by entering these features in the software, you will get conclusion immediately. So this person is having COVID-19, or maybe he is healthy person, like that. Here we are deriving mathematical formulas. If we go for programming, it's a matter of seconds. Within seconds, we'll get conclusion. So whether the person having COVID-19 or not, based on the features set. That means based on the features of the patient. Now we have to train this data. That means training phase. After that, we have to test the given instance. That means whatever features here, chest pain, dry cough, etc. Now you can see here, we have to find two classes. One is for positive, one is for negative. And positive class, we have to find all the features here. So when you take here positive class, we have to find for all the features. Negative, we have to find all the features, and we are looking for maximum value. That is the conclusion. So that's very simple. That's why Bayesian is very simple to understand. So now first class, P of positive, always numerator is class, denominator is future vector. What is the future vector given? Chest pain, dry cough, etc. Now we have to find the probability. Bayesian classifier, what is the formula? Probability of numerator into probability of denominator, each feature divided by numerator. So that means P of y into P of x1 given y, P of x2 given y, P of x3 given y, like this. So all the features I'm considering. And probability of positive. So here if we take out of 9 patients, how many times positive is there? 5 times. That's why probability of positive is 5 by 9. So total total number of patients 9. Out of 9, how many times positive results we got from this right last column? 5 times. That's why 5 by 9 into P of chest pain given positive. So positive, how many COVID cases we have? 5. That is the denominator. You can see here. So denominator is 5. Now we are looking for chest pain. Whenever positive is COVID-19, the future is chest pain how many times repeated. So you can see here, when you come to the second record, positive, chest pain is there, that feature is there. When you come to the fourth record, chest pain, that feature is there. When you come to the fifth record, chest pain, that feature is there. When you come to seventh record, chest pain, that feature is there. So last one also chest pain. In all the cases, wherever COVID is positive, chest pain feature is available. That means out of 5 positives, 5 times repeated, that's why 5 by 9, 5 by 5. So that is the second value. Now third value, same thing, dry cough is repeated each time wherever positive. That's why, so 5 by 5. Next, so 1 by 5. So loss of speech positive. So when you come to here is the positive, there is no loss of speech in second record. And when you come to fourth record, there is no loss of speech. And when you come to fifth record, there is no loss of speech. But when you come to seventh record, there is no loss of speech. But when you come to the ninth record, we have loss of speech. That is called positive report we are getting. So that's why 1 by 5. Out of 5 positive cases, only one patient having loss of speech problem. Because of that reason, maybe he got positive. That's why 1 by 5. So less probability only. 1 by 5 we have to write. Similarly, fever. So fever out of 5 times positive, all times we have fever future. That's why 5 by 5. Next, shortness of breath. Out of 5 times, shortness of breath is available 4 times. That's why 4 by 5. These are the probabilities. So that means numerator is nothing but, so chest pain out of 5 positives, how many times it is repeated? Dry cough repeated how many times out of positive cases of 5? Like that. Numerator is favorable cases. Denominator is total number of positive cases, 5, because we have total 5 cases only out of 9. And probability of positive means out of 9 cases, 5 times positive cases. So according to the Bayesian classifier, P of y into P of x1 given y, P of x2 given y, like this. And multiply, you will get 0.16. Similarly, we have to find probability for second class, that is P of negative. So P of negative given, so all the features, whatever instance is given, we have to consider. And same logic, copy paste. Instead of positive, replace negative. Probability of negative, probability of chest pain given negative, like this. So whatever formula we applied. Same thing copy paste here. In place of positive, we are looking for negative, because all the classes we have to find the probability, and which class having maximum probability, that class is the final classifier or final classification. Now negative 4 by 9, out of 9 times 4 times negative results, we have 9 records. And chest pain given negative, out of negative cases only one chest pain is there, and dry cough only once out of 4 negatives. And loss of speech 0, there is no loss of speech whenever negative case. And fever, out of 4 negative cases only one patient only having fever. And shortness of breath, so there is no patient having shortness of breath out of 4 negative cases, so 0 by 4. Anyhow, one of the values 0 means no need to go for further step, directly the value is 0. Now finally, probability of positive given future vector or given instance is 0.16, and for negative given instance is 0. Now according to the Bayesian classifier, what is the formula? Y equal to argmax both probabilities 0.16 comma 0. Whatever probabilities we got here, write down argmax 0.16 comma 0. Out of these two values, which is the maximum value? 0.16. And this maximum value corresponding to which class? Positive. That's why result is positive. So maximum value, here we have two steps. First we have to find maximum value. Maximum value is 0.16, and 0.16 belongs to which class? Positive class. So that's why positive is the conclusion. That means the patient ID with BCD10 can be classified as COVID-19 positive. So whatever data, whatever instance for the new patient come to the doctor for testing COVID-19 positive or negative based on the future vectors, whatever features he is having, we can classify it as directly COVID-19 positive. So because COVID-19 positive class is more for a given features according to the instance, that's why we have to classify it as a positive. So this is similar to previous problem, only difference is here no need to make tables. Directly whatever table given, from that table we have to see how many times repeated, and based on that we have to write probabilities, and based on that we can identify which is the maximum probability that we have to classify it as a positive or negative. So finally we have to classify the given person having positive COVID. I think it's clear. If we have my suggestion, if anyone having this type of data near to your place, or maybe website I'm not able to get, I searched so many websites, so I'm still not able to get perfect data set for this type of future vector like personal health record. If we'll get, we can do immediately paper, or at least we can write a paper in such a way that data set for personal health record of COVID-19. No need to implement any method, just you can make a paper 1 or 2 pages, even 1 page also nowadays accepting on COVID. Just you can write a paper in such a way that abstract is nothing but the data available from X, Y, and Z place, and we got 100 records of the patients and the futures like that. We can make a table, you can present, you can make a conclusion, you can submit. So for that data also, so many people are looking. I am looking last 6 months for this type of data, still I'm not getting that data. That's why acceptance will get immediately if we get this type of data. But that's why I'm telling, this is synthetic data, I can't claim directly. If I claim, again they will ask where you got this data, what is the proof, all those things. So again I will face legal problems. So that's why just I make it as a synthetic data, just for the classification of text data for medical application. Now finally, we know what is the Bayesian classifier and how to apply the formulas. Try to understand, don't try to buy heart. So how it is happening, I mean how it is working, and what is the meaning of max, what is the meaning of or, why we have to take argmax, and why we have to take this maximum value under which we have to take positive like this. So finally, according to the given instance, after training the given data or data set, we made it as a COVID-19 positive for a given patient. So this is the conclusion for this data set. Now two problems, one is for data set. First problem is a little bit complicated. Complicated means more time when compared to the text data. Text data is very simple, just we have to see, based on that we have to find. Now I'm giving one example. I'm not implementing for this, maybe those who are looking for any research or publication. So Bayesian classifiers slightly related to NLP also. When you go for natural language processing, so there also we have text classification. Of course NLP is a huge topic. There we have conversions, voice to text, text to voice, like that. So many things are there. We are talking about text classification. For example, I'll give one example. We have one sentence, food is good. One more sentence, food is delicious. One more sentence, food is bad. One more sentence, food is too bad. Now these are the reviews given by the customers. I have a hotel, let us assume XYZ hotel, let us assume I have a Anand Bhavan. So I requested each customer give your feedback. They used to write comment, food is good, food is delicious, food is bad, the food is too bad. So now based on that, Whenever if one customer asking some, I mean one customer wants to go to that I mean portal or not, so someone should recommend strongly. We have to see the review or feedback, so whether recommended or not recommended. So that means, so based on the sentences we have to make a data set. That means food is one future, good is one future, food is one future, delicious is one future. So based on that we have to make a table. I'm not giving solution here, you can try. It's not belongs to exactly Bayesian classifier. It's a part of Bayesian classifier and it's combination of NLP also. Just I'm giving idea. So we have to make a table, and what are the attributes here? Just like previously, food is one attribute, good is one attribute, food is one attribute, delicious is one attribute, bad is one attribute. Like that we have to write all the attributes. Repetition means no need to write. Food is available so many times, one attribute is sufficient. And wherever food is there, one, good is one, so delicious one, bad means make it as 0. Final conclusion, so bad means conclusion is not recommended, good or delicious means recommended. Like that you can only create one synthetic data, maybe available in the Google also, so many data sets. Finally we can classify whether the possibility for recommended means result is 1, not recommended means result is 0. Here so many issues are there, that's why I'm not taking in depth. We need NLP concepts. Why NLP concepts means here is there, maybe was, maybe the. In this case we have to pre-process the data. Here pre-processing is very important. Whatever data we considered previously, like a tennis example or maybe COVID-19 example, there is no pre-processing. We can check it directly, data set is available, everything is ready made. Based on that we can go for classification. But here data is not ready made, this we have to do pre-processing. So many words are there, is there, the is there, to is there. These are not future, we can't take it as a future. This both we have to remove first of all. That means this is called future I mean pre-processing. In image processing also we used to do pre-processing for enhancement or maybe filtering, etc. In similar way here also we have to do some pre-processing for removing this type of thing, that is called stop words. Here you can see in note I written stop words. Stop words means, so that is one technique. By using that we can remove these things, is, was, maybe to, or some that type of useless words, and we have to consider only futures, and based on that we have to make a classification, finally recommended or not recommended. You can try this one. So how to classify all those things, it's a combination, it's a overlapping with NLP also, natural language processing. The stop words and imbalance in data, how to handle these things, not available much here. So that we have to imbalance data means, so some of the features are missing, or maybe some of the features are not available, but we have conclusion. So in that case how to balance the data set. Again for that also we have algorithms, how to make and some values are null also. Null means not applicable or not available. So how to make balanced one, how to fill all the values properly. So it will take automatic filling also. For that also some algorithms are available, so you can apply that algorithms. Based on that we can go for classification. So this is not belongs to our Bayesian classifier exactly today's class. Just I am giving, if anyone interesting to related to NLP also, you have to take Bayesian classifier, that we have to apply with NLP concepts. Based on that we can go for final classification of this text. So this is also one type of text classification. Now here once, yeah, so here I will show one research problem, I mean a research problem or maybe a research direction, maybe useful for some researchers or those who are looking for any publication. So I will show that paper, just it's opening. So classification is text classification data set. I gave one example, but not in detail about what we can call it as a NLP problem that we have to check, because inside means we have to go for pre-processing, we have to use stop words, how to delete that type of words. So many things are there that we can check it in free time, but it is very helpful for doing research or for doing publications also. Now here I opened, can you see madam this paper? Hello madam.
Yes, sir. You'll
Yeah.
be once you click, if it is a link, you as soon as you click, it'll redirect you, sir.
Can you see the paper, madam? Elsewhere like that. Opened actually here.
No, sir.
No,
We are not
no, sir, no, sir. You will have to share that screen, sir.
Oh, screen only. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. No issue. Okay, I'll come to. So here I am able to see. 1 second, man. I'll come to. 1 second. I'm trying.
Share the screen and you'll be able to show us, sir.
Mm. One second. How to close man?
So select screen share option in GoToMeeting, sir. It will be available
I'm
below.
checking. Yeah, yeah.
Next to the
I'm,
camera option, you just click on the screen button, and a list of screens will be displayed. You'll have to click
yeah.
on the paper, sir.
Um,
Yes, sir. Go to GoToMeeting app, sir.